Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with my beautiful wife, Karina. And it's that time. It's Saturday, April 27th, 2024. That means April has almost gone. It's gone away. And almost it's time for May of 2024, which means look at my glasses here. What does that mean? It means that you have a month less to worry about, and it's a month closer to getting your green card or your K1 visa getting approved. Whichever it is, it's either your green card or your K1 visa, right? Or your spousal visa, or probably not so much the tourist visa. Although I know how to process a tourist visa. We hope everybody's doing good out there in YouTube land, and this is your YouTube channel. We put it together for you. Karina's idea when we were in Colombia. It's your channel, so you get free advice on how to process a K1 visa or a green card or a spousal visa or a tourist visa. It doesn't cost you a penny to watch the show, right? It's free. I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. I don't work for the U.S. government. I don't work for USCIS. And that's about it. I've got 9 years experience doing this, writing. I could write the book on K1 visas. I could write the book on how to do it. I can process a green card in my sleep, a green card application, where you don't get an RFE and you get approval, hopefully without having to go to another visa interview, which I know you don't like those scary visa interviews. Vanessa Tabe is first to make a post on this, your channel. Vanessa, hey Diego, we got the text message notifying us they received the I-824. Congratulations. See, if you put a G1145 form in with your paperwork, you're going to get a text message from immigration telling you they got it. Never send your information using the postal system if at all possible. Use FedEx, UPS, or DHL courier service. Let me see here. Jay Baxter, good afternoon. The Ross family. Jay Baxter, what's going on? We hope you're doing good. And Vanessa, my interview is on Tuesday. Well, there you go. Congratulations. So, this process isn't so bad, is it? You don't need an immigration attorney unless you got some serious issues. You don't need an immigration attorney, and you don't need to pay a company to do this. You can do it for free yourself right here. Priyanka Srinivas. Hello, Diego and Karina. I received the state ID from Alabama State. Good job. Very good. You're moving ahead. You're progressing day by day. You keep advancing with your green card process, and it's good news. Now, don't forget, if you're waiting for your probationary 2-year green card, you got to lift the conditions on it 3 months before it expires. Okay, so if you've got your 2-year green card in your hand right now, okay, take a look at it and look at the expiration date. What does the expiration date say? Now, minus 90 days from the expiration date, and then the date in that group where it starts, that's when you need to lift the conditions off of your 2-year green card and apply for your 10-year green card. And you use USCIS form 751. Okay? When you fill out the paperwork, the 751, you're basically going to repeat all of the evidence that you put into your original green card application, but now you're going to repeat it, and to make sure that immigration sees that you guys are still married and you're still together and you're still doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is building a life together in the United States. And Priyanka, sure, Diego and Karina. Hang in there, Priyanka. Okay. Jay Baxter, I'm doing good. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Karina's the same. Karina's waiting and waiting and waiting for a green card application to get adjudicated. But it is what it is, and it is a process that's put in place by the U.S. government to keep everybody on the up and up, I guess would be the way to say it. GS, hey Diego and beautiful Karina, hermosa Karina. Please tell me why everybody seems to be in favor of a CL1 submission instead of a K1, and what was your reason for going down the K1 route? I love GS in the cold United Kingdom. Love you both. Well, let me talk to you, GS, in beautiful England. I was in England in 1996. I went there for a vacation. I went from Italy to Malta. I had a vacation in Malta. Then from Malta, I flew to London. And then I spent 30 days in London or in England. I traveled around and I loved it. But the question is, why do I prefer the K1? Because it's easier. It's easier. The paperwork is easier. All right. There was a couple that filed for a spousal visa. They went to their visa interview at the embassy. I don't know what country it was. And the immigration officer was looking at the marriage certificate. He said, "This doesn't look right. It's not right. It's something not quite right." And the lady said, "Well, that's a church certificate that has adjudicated our wedding as we are saying we are married." And the embassy officer said, "Well, I need to see the marriage certificate." And the lady said, "Well, I mean, I got married in a country that's in turmoil, and I cannot get a government marriage certificate because the government won't issue me one. So I went to my church, and the church issued me this certificate saying that we're married." The immigration officer said, "That ain't going to work." So she waited, 18 months for her spousal visa interview. She went to the spousal visa interview. They didn't accept the marriage certificate because it was issued by a church and not by the government. They mailed her spousal visa package back to USCIS and said, start from beginning. You know, you can't prove you're married. A letter from a church doesn't prove you're married. So and that's one reason I don't, if the immigration officer doesn't like the marriage certificate, the immigration officer can deny your case, even if it's good. Okay. Why don't I like the spousal visa? Well, when it gets to the National Visa Center, the National Visa Center takes control of your visa, not you, not the embassy. The NVC takes control of it and says, "Okay, I want you to upload the passport, the birth certificates, your tax returns, letters of intent to get married, W-2s, 1099s, pay stubs, bank statements. You got to upload all this information to the NVC." Okay. What if you make a mistake? Like if you upload the passport and it's off it a little bit, they can't read it properly because it blurred or something happened on their end or your end, then they're going to send you an email and say, "I can't see this. You got to resubmit it." So you resubmit the paperwork, the passport, say, for example, and it takes another, month, 2 months for them to adjudicate it and say that it's good. The spousal visa is, if you like, it's not as expensive as the K1 visa. It's cheaper price-wise, but it's more difficult to process. Okay, and there's a lot more chance, for me, in my opinion, there's a lot more chance of error at the embassy interview. If the immigration officer doesn't like the marriage certificate, I don't like this marriage certificate, I need to see something else. They're going to send your case back to USCIS if you can't prove you got married. Let's suppose you got, if you get married in some countries, you got to get the government to issue a marriage certificate. And if they don't, then you can't prove it. The church can't do it for you. Okay? If you get married in a church, that's great. Let's suppose you get married in a church in Sudan. Great. But the government of Sudan is in turmoil. You got to get the government of Sudan to process a marriage certificate from the government. What if they can't? What if they won't? You can't prove you got married. But with a K1 visa, you're not getting married in a foreign country. You're not going to be subject to foreign governments. You're going to get married in the United States of America, where the marriage certificate is going to be accepted by the U.S. government and immigration. Okay? If you get married in Sudan, Niger, Venezuela, the chances of getting a denial at the embassy is high just because of the paperwork. Do not. If you want to go through a spousal visa, then you go ahead. Go knock yourself out. I'm good with it. I'll help you. I'll teach you how to do it. But it's a pain. It's not as expensive. You get the green card quicker. But do you? Do you or not? It depends on the processing time. K1 visa, Louisville, Texas. Then it goes to USCIS, California, Texas, Nebraska. Then it goes to New Hampshire. Then it goes to the embassy. And they're not going to be adjudicating a marriage certificate because you're going to be applying for that in the United States. Right? So you get to America and you get married and you got a real rock solid marriage certificate. If you get married on a Polynesian island somewhere, okay, the chances of that marriage certificate being adjudicated as good is pretty slim. I'm not bashing the Polynesian Islands because I'm sure it's a beautiful country, but I'm just saying the immigration folks are more strict on marriages overseas on the paperwork. So why do I recommend a K1 visa over a spousal visa? The paperwork's much easier, the adjudication's much easier, and you're going to guarantee to get a proper marriage certificate because you're getting married in America, not on the south side of Tasmania. You see what I'm saying? So it seems that everybody is in favor. Who is everybody, GS? Who's everybody? If those everybody's want to get on a spousal visa, then they should knock themselves out and go do it. Okay? If somebody lives in, I don't know, somewhere in the world where the government doesn't have stability, or the U.S. government doesn't recognize the paperwork, then you're going to get blocked at the embassy interview, and you're going to get all your paperwork sent back to USCIS because they couldn't prove the marriage. So on the website Visa Journey, okay, the website Visa Journey is people's opinions. It's a pretty good website. It helps you kind of get an idea of how long is it taking for a spousal or for a K1 visa, etc. And they ask you to go in there. The sponsors and the beneficiaries can go into Visa Journey and update their information. How long did it take from NOA 1 to NOA 2? And people can go in there and give their opinions. And I've read some opinions in Visa Journey where it was scaring people to death. Saying, well, you're going to get your K1 visa denied because you did this and this and this. And it's totally not true. Okay, so I have regressed I've backed out of Visa Journey. I don't go in there. Every now and then I get an email from them. Oh, so-and-so has updated her status. I'm like, great. I don't even read it. Okay, I don't do it. If you want to get a spousal visa and if you want to take a chance that the U.S. government doesn't authenticate, adjudicate, or agree with the marriage certificate, then go knock yourself out. But there's a lady right now who's in a real relationship for a long time, got married, and because her government couldn't issue her a marriage certificate, she went to her church, and the church said, oh yeah, you got married. We give you a church certificate. She put that in her K1 visa application, or he did, and he used an attorney, and the attorney accepted the church certificate, okay, as a legitimate marriage certificate, but it's not. So not only did they lose money with the attorney because he doesn't know what he's doing, they also lost their visa fee, and now they're back at the square one trying to prove they got married. So my recommendation to them is you can't prove you got married. You can never get a government-issued certificate. File the K1 and get married in America, and just like it never happened in that country, wherever it is. Okay, I mean the secret is this. The solution is this: don't get married in a foreign country. File the K1 and get married in America. Then the marriage certificate is rock solid. That's my opinion, guys. So I could have got married to Karina in Colombia. Okay. First, I got to find a notary who will do it. Got to find a notary. And you can probably go ask the first 5 or 6 notaries, and they say, no, we're not going to marry you. You're American. Karina's Venezuelan. We're not going to do it. Okay. Or in the Philippines. My friend lives in the Philippines. Okay. And he married a Filipina, and he lives in Dumaguete. He could not find somebody to marry him in the Philippines. He had to go through hoops and hurdles to find a person to marry him. So they finally found somebody. They got married, and he said, I'm not going through this K1 spousal nightmare. I'm just going to live in the Philippines. And he lives in the Philippines. He lives there permanently. It depends on what kind of headache you want. Do you want a headache? Do you want to go into a K1? Do you want to go into a spousal visa interview, hoping that the marriage certificate is accepted by USCIS or the consulate officer? Or do you want to go into the embassy interview on a K1 without a marriage certificate with evidence of getting married in America? The chances of the K1 getting approved is exponentially higher. If people are trying to save money and go the cheap El Cheapo and they want to get their green card quicker, than go through the spousal visa. But then you're taking a higher risk, okay, at the embassy interview that you're going to get approved because they're going to look hard at the marriage certificate. Let me see here. Ro Figueroa, saludos Diego and Karina from Puerto Rico. Okay, fiance from Cartagena, Colombia, waiting for the NOA 2. So hang in there, March 18th, 2024, and now you're just hanging in there. You're waiting, Ro Figueroa. You can do this, okay? You can do this, and I got faith. I got confidence in the K-1 visa process. I got confidence in the spousal visa process. I got confidence in the green card process and the tourist visa process. But I don't like spousal visas, okay? I don't like them. They're harder to do. There's more intricacies involved. It's a lot more strict. The U.S. government saying, why didn't you get married in America? Why you got to get married in Uruguay or Peru or Panama? Why not go through the K-1? You know, they're a lot stricter. So let me see here. Vanessa Tay and MGS, thank you. No problem, GS. Thank you for the question. Vanessa, they gave me my vaccine cards and my x-ray and some other documents at the hospital telling me those are my personal copies. So I don't know if I can use those for the green card application. Okay, Vanessa, you don't need the chest x-ray for the green card application. If you send it, immigration will throw it in the trash. Okay. If you have a 693 and vaccination certification in a sealed envelope that was handed to you by the doctor at your medical exam, you could probably use that for your green card application. But if it's not a 693 in a sealed envelope, the information is useless. Immigration can't use it at the green card level. You have to repeat the medical exam. I tell everybody over and over and over and over, repeat the medical exam, repeat the vaccination certification, and include it in your green card application. When Karina got to America on January 3rd, 2024, first thing I did was call the medical doctor up and say, hey, I need to get a green card medical for my wife to be. They said, okay. And I scanned them the vaccination records. They said, you're good. Vaccinations are complete. We're going to give Karina a medical exam in Pensacola on this day at like 9 o'clock in the morning. She went to the medical exam, that she passed it. They signed off on her 693, put it in a sealed envelope, and gave it to Karina and said, put this in your green card application. If you don't have a 693 in a sealed envelope in your green card application, there's a good chance you're going to get an RFE because the immigration officer is looking for it. All right. So hear my voice. Hear what I say. Oi mi canto. See? Listen to what I say. Vanessa, you're not going to be able to use that information for the green card application. When you get to it, just repeat the medical exam in the United States by a civil surgeon authorized by the State Department to conduct green card medical exams. Repeat the medical exam. If you do it, if you listen to me, I'm going to save you massive headaches. I'm going to save you from an RFE. You just got to spend a little bit more money, and it's an investment in your family. Francois Livingston, good evening, Diego and Karina from rainy upstate New York. So Francois, it's raining in upstate New York. Let me ask you this question. Has the government of New York, has the governor of New York and the legislature, have they figured out how to tax raindrops? Now, I know in New York, they love to tax everything. They even banned the installation of gas stoves in new apartment complexes in New York. You can't, when new building permits in New York, you can't put gas in the houses. So they're going to freeze in wintertime. So have they started taxing the rain yet? Zendaya Bascom, how long does it take for adjusting a status, work permit, green card, etc.? Well, it's going to take about 3 months, 2 to 3 months to get the work permit and 4 to 5 months to get the green card. Don't waste your money with the work permit because it's $265, but it used to be free. Now you got to pay for it. So you're going to pay for a work permit that's only going to be good for probably 2 months. And then your green card comes in the mail, or you have to go to an interview. Just apply for the green card. I hear you, GS in England. Now I love England. I love fish and chips. I hear you. We did think of the soldier getting married in England, flying back to Arizona, starting my I-130 and get a bank account. No, don't do that. Don't do that, GS. Apply for the K1. Okay? Apply through the K1. Priyanka, one more question. Diego. Tengo una más pregunta. Before approval of state ID of Alabama, Alabama State contacted USCIS before approval. According to Alabama State, they mentioned that they will check with USCIS as a formality. Does it look good in the eye of USCIS? Absolutely. You're good, Priyanka. You're just waiting on your green card. Just hang in there. GS, yeah, the website Visa Journey. Visa Journeys, some of it's pretty good. You know, they put out good timelines and information. You can go by country. You can look in Colombia. What's the timeline in Colombia for a K1 visa interview at the embassy? It's pretty good information, but there's also a lot of crybabies in there. Okay, so watch out. Vanessa, hey Diego, please answer my question. I thought I did. Vanessa, yeah. I answered it. S-Bay, greetings, Diego and Karina. I appreciate you two's steadfastness. Hey, I'm retired military. Karina's Venezuelan. You can't beat the team, right? We're strong. How should one organize the I-129F, the I-134, proof of ongoing relationship to bring to the interview? Or do you have a video on this? I have a video on how to assemble your documents for the K1 visa interview. If you Google Diego Ross, assemble documents for K1 visa interview or assemble documents, you'll find a video on how to do that, on how to organize the information, okay, to bring to the interview. And you don't have to bring the I-129F to the visa interview. You don't have to do that. S-Bay, thank you. No problem, S-Bay. Let's see here. Rim Gosen, what's the reasons for a K1 denial? Don't make enough money. You didn't bring a joint sponsor paperwork with you. You wore an engagement ring to the visa interview that got misconstrued as a wedding ring. They thought you were married. The sponsor, the beneficiary, cannot answer any questions about the sponsor. You know, things like that. The main reason is usually income or paperwork problems. Like there was a lady. She just got her spousal visa sent back to USCIS from the embassy because she couldn't prove she got married. She had a church certificate, but she didn't have a government issued marriage certificate. I can't remember what country it was from, but she said the country was in political turmoil. So I'm assuming it was something like Niger, Sudan, you know, something like that. So she said she got married, but she can't prove it. So you got to make sure you bring all the paperwork that is evidence of your relationship. That's why I recommend the K1 over a marriage certificate, over a marriage spousal visa. The K1, you just got to prove you're in a relationship, okay, and that you're qualified for the benefit, okay. But with a spousal visa, you got to make sure you get a government issued marriage certificate that is accepted by immigration and the embassy. Vanessa, okay, I get it. So it's better to get all the vaccines here before coming to America. It's cheaper. Vanessa. Karina, she went to the vaccination place in Bogota, and she said, "How much is it for all these vaccinations?" And they said like $400. So I sent her $400, and she got her vaccinations piecemeal over 6 months. It would have cost me what, $1,200 here. So I saved $800. It's, you know, the money's in our bank now, not in a vaccine clinic. Vanessa, I'm asking about the vaccines. Yeah, I made a video about the vaccinations. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a civil surgeon, but I put out information that's public record from immigration. If you Google Diego Ross vaccinations, you can find the videos and it will help you. Malice Ghana, good evening to you and your beautiful wife, sir. Sending love from Texas, the state of Texas. Now, Texas is the second largest state in America. The biggest state is Alaska, and the second biggest is Texas. And I drove across Texas. I drove from Florida to New Mexico. Well, I drove from Florida to Arizona, then to New Mexico. It took me 3 days to drive across Texas. I'm like, man, does this state ever end? It's never ending. I'm like, and then I saw the sign, welcome to New Mexico. I'm like, man, it took forever. Alana Bailey, hello Diego, I have a question. Tengo una pregunta. Is it 90 days to marry or 90 days to marry and apply for the green card? Let me go over it, Alana. You've got 90 days to get married on the I-94. When you land in America on your K-1 visa, okay, your K-1 visa is no longer in play. Just to pretend your K-1 visa no longer exists. Now you're on an I-94, a Border Patrol issued, Customs Enforcement issued I-94. On that I-94, they're going to stamp in your passport an expiration date. They're going to stamp it and they're going to write issued and expired. Those two numbers in between added up is 90 days. You got to get married in 90 days. If you don't, you get deported. But if you need more time to put your green card application together, you can do that. You don't have to file for the green card within 90 days. You can do it in 100 days or 120 days. But the longer you wait to apply for your green card, the longer you're going to wait to get your green card. So what my recommendation is this. Here's what I recommend. You get into the United States and you get married within 90 days and you file your green card application within 60 days. 60 days is more than enough time to put together a strong green card application. That's my recommendation. Karina arrived in the United States of America on January 3rd, 2024. We got married on January 14th, 2024. We spent until February, and then on February 29th, we had enough evidence collected for our marriage, and then we filed for her green card. It was within 58 days. Okay. Let me see here. Alana, do you understand, right? You got it. Alana, you understand that, right? You got to get married within 90 days. If you don't, you'll be out of status. If you get married within 90 days, you're in status. You don't have to apply for the green card within 90 days. You're not going to be out of status. You're going to be good. But I recommend you get it done within 60 days after arriving in the United States. That's more than enough time to put together a strong green card application. Francois, no rain tax, but there's tax on everything else. I bet they thought about it. Diego. Yeah. The state of New York, they're losing people like crazy. Everybody's moving to Florida from New York and California. Everyone in California is moving to Texas and New York and Nevada. Meliscana, Vanessa Tabe, if you are from Cameroon, write me, please. Okay. S-Bay, if one repeats the medical exam, that doesn't necessarily mean one will have to repeat all the vaccines. Correct. You have the doctor, the civil servant. You repeat the medical exam in America. Just repeat it. Get a brand new 693. Have the doctor, the civil surgeon, certify your vaccination documents and say, okay, they're good. That goes in the packet. That gets signed off on the 693. Okay. You don't have to repeat all your vaccinations. Karina had, 11 or 12 vaccinations. When she got to America, all she did was redo the medical exam. The doctor signed off on the vaccinations because he looked at it and said, yeah, these are good. They're all perfectly good. Everything is acceptable for green card. Don't repeat the medical, the vaccinations. But you got to have vaccinations in your green card application, or your green card application will come back with an RFE. Where is it? Where's the medical exam? Where's the vaccination documents? S-Bay, you got it? You don't have to repeat the vaccines. Wouldn't that be a overdosing? You don't have to, no, you don't repeat the vaccinations, but you do have the doctor in America recertify the vaccinations are all done. Okay? That's what you get. That's what immigration's looking for. Alana, will my husband be out of status if we file after 90 days? No. You got to get married within 90 days. Then you're in status. You're in status if you get married within 90 days. The I-94 gives you 90 days to get married. If you file 10, 20, 30 days past the expiration date of the I-94, don't worry about it. Immigration will look at the marriage certificate and the date on the marriage certificate. Then they're going to look at the I-94. If that date where you got married falls in those 90 days of the I-94, you're in status. And you're good to go. Even if you file after 90 days. Tell me you understand that. And stay out of Facebook. Quit reading all that garbage in Facebook. Oh, you're going to be deported if you don't get married, if you don't file your green card within 90 days. It's not true. You got to get married within 90 days. You can file your green card 6 months later if you want, but it's going to slow down your green card application. Surely you don't want to be in America for 6 months without a green card, right? It's bad enough you got to wait 4 months or 5 months. GS, I heard all your sincere words. Thank you. K1 it is. K1, GS, please do a K1. Please. Don't go all through all this nightmare just to get told by some consular officer, well, we don't recognize this marriage certificate. Or why did you get married in America and then come back on a tourist visa? That's a problem right there. Immigration is going to say, well, that's misrepresenting the B2 visa. Don't do that. Just go through the K1. Okay? Go to America, visit with your sponsor, your fiance, go hang out with your army veteran in Arizona, come back off your vacation, don't get married. Wait for the K1 to get approved. And you're going to have all this evidence of all these trips you made to America, right? That's strong right there. And the immigration officer at the embassy in London is going to say, well, look, GS went to Arizona on vacation 2 or 3 times, and they didn't get married. They didn't violate the B2 visa. They didn't do anything, they just maintained their relationship. Boom, you get your K1. That's how it works. Rim Gosen, is it okay if the petitioner got a divorce 2 months before applying for a K1? Sure. A divorce decree means you're legally free and able to marry. If it's 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, or 2 years ago, it's all good. But I would write a letter of explanation into why the divorce was only 2 months before applying for K1. There's got to be, give it a little reason, write a little affidavit of why you're applying for the K1 2 months after getting divorced. Write an explanation. Well, we were separated for a year. It took us 6 months to get a divorce. The courthouse was backed up with cases, and we couldn't get the divorce because of the workload at the courthouse. And then I've been dating my new beneficiary for a long time, and I couldn't get a divorce because of the workload and then explain why. And immigration will read the letter. Okay, so you couldn't get a divorce because of the workload and because of the backlog of cases, and etc. And it's all good. Badia Mike, hi Diego. How long 221G does it take after submitting the documents? Depends on the country. Depends on what documents you submitted. Depends on what the 221G is for. Depends. There's a lot of depends. Aisha Toure, hello. What's the step to take if immigrant visa expired before you can travel to the USA due to COVID? What's the step to take if your immigrant visa expired before you can travel to the United States due to COVID? What immigrant visa did you have? A tourist visa? What kind of visa did you have? An immigrant visa could be is a non-immigrant visa, is a tourist visa. So you had a K1 visa. I'm going to assume it's a K1, and it expired. But it's no good. You got to repeat the process from the beginning. If you have a K1 visa, okay, if you have a K1 visa in your passport and it's expired, it's no good. You can either contact the embassy and ask them, what can you do? Can you re-adjudicate it for me? But more likely, you're going to have to go back to the beginning and start the process all over again. But the first thing I would do is contact the embassy and ask them if they will re-adjudicate your K1 because of COVID. Okay? If you couldn't travel to the United States because of COVID, how did you get an approved K1 visa? Why would the embassy issue a K1 visa if the airports were closed? I mean, how did you get it? I'm assuming it's a K1. I remember, I remember COVID. Asia, if my immigrant visa expired before coming to USA due to COVID, what can I do? Reapply. In my opinion, you're just going to have to reapply for a new one from the beginning because you can't travel on an expired visa. But you could contact the embassy and ask them if they could re-adjudicate it for you. They might do it. GS is talking to Badia Mike, asking about 221G. Ajali. Hi, Diego and Karina. Just saying hello, but for your information, it took me 3 days to pay for the visa after I submitted the DS-160. this was a really stressful situation. This whole K1 visa process, the spousal visa, the green card, everything's stressful, guys. It's not easy. You're not sure if this is right, this is right, this is right. We understand. When Karina got her K1 visa approved in Bogota, Colombia, they came back on her and said, oh, by the way, you need an Interpol police certificate. When you get it, we'll give you your passport. So they took her passport, and we had to go find, Karina had to track down her Interpol police certificate. That was something we didn't expect. I'm like, dang, what the heck? That came out of left field. But Karina got it. It took a month. So we ended up being in Colombia for another 6 weeks, longer than we anticipated. So you got to be ready for any contingency. Ajali, then they tell me I have to wait for an email to schedule the biometrics and the interview. Yeah, that is the packet 3, packet 4 email. Just hang in there. Badilla Mike, GS, no, he was asking the police report from my home country. Okay, so if you submitted the police report, give him like 2 to 3 weeks to adjudicate it. Vanessa's talking, is waving to Melis. Hello, Vanessa's saying hello to Melis. Kalkidan Keshian, my fiance has been approved for his visa. Thank you for your help. Well, you know what happens when you get an approval on this channel, guys? This is your channel. You get a Mountain Dew salute for the visa approval. Congratulations. I've got 1 Mountain Dew left in the fridge, so we're going to drive. After the live stream, we're headed to Walmart. I got to buy more Mountain Dew tonight. I can't be without it because we got another live stream on Monday. Let me see. Congratulations, Kalkidan. And we're here for you guys. GS is talking to Mike. I know I will be presented a 221G because of a moral reason against all vaccines. GS, let me explain something to you. GS, you will not get a green card. You won't get one without having the vaccinations. Okay? Listen to me. I don't like vaccinations. Karina doesn't like vaccinations. I had a strong moral opposition to some of them. But you know what? In order to get a green card, you got to do what the White House says, and the current occupant of the White House is saying what is required through the CDC. If we get a new president in November, which is probably going to happen, okay, then that new president, whoever he or she is, could possibly change the vaccination requirements. Okay, so by the time you get to the K1 visa stage, GS, maybe there's a different process in place for vaccinations. But right now, you got to do what they tell you to do. So you get your green card. So you get your visa. It's not so much the visa, the K1. You can come to America without all your vaccinations, no problem. But you can't get the green card without the vaccinations. So if you're not going to get a 221G because of a moral reason against vaccines, you're going to get a denial. You got to have the vaccine, so you get denied. Unless you're pregnant or you're a real young child, and the civil surgeon writes a letter and waives you from them. If the civil surgeon gives you a waiver from vaccinations because of a medical condition, then you know that's something else. Okay. But if you just don't want to have them because you don't want to have them, then immigration is going to have a problem with that. Right now with this current president, okay, he's running the show. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, works for the president of the United States. And he's saying this, and they're doing this. But we have an election in November. If we're going to get a new president, I'm pretty sure, okay, I'm pretty sure, just from what I'm seeing, and he or she will change that process, I'm sure. Aisha Toure, if my immigrant visa expired before coming to the USA due to COVID, what should I do? Ask the embassy to re-adjudicate it, and if they won't, reapply for a new one. Okay? Alana, thank you so much, Diego. Alana Bailey, no problem. KJB, long time. Hey, Diego, my fiance's original passport we applied with expired. The original passport you applied with is expired, but we have now got a new one. And his interview is in a month. What can we do? Have you? Okay, well, that means you've already submitted the DS-160. So you've used the old passport number on the DS-160. You can do this. You can resubmit the DS-160 with the new passport information on it, or you can go to the visa interview with both passports. Take 2 passports with you to the visa interview and say, this one expired. Please process the K1 visa in my new passport. And you're good. You're good to go. Everything's good. You got 2 options. File a new DS-160 with the new passport number in it, or if you don't want to do that, just go to the visa interview with both passports. Say, look, here's my old one. Here's my new one. Please process my visa in this passport. And then when you apply for the green card, you're going to use the new passport number. Okay? Rim Gosen, what are the reasons for administrative processing, or DS-5535? A DS-5535 is a Department of State administrative processing because of a security check. People that are applying who have been approved K1 visas or in the process of K1 visas who live in countries like Iraq, Syria, even Venezuela, communist Cuba, Nicaragua, those kind of countries. If you're from those countries, there's a possibility you're going to get an extra security check done on you, okay? Because the United States and Syria, we don't get along. The people are fine. It's the governments that are the problem, right? Like the United States government doesn't get along with the government of Venezuela. Well, the people, it's not the people's fault. There's nothing wrong with the people. My wife's Venezuelan, okay? She's a conservative capitalist entrepreneur. Okay, and she's beautiful too. What a win, right? The people are not the problem. It's the governments that are the problem. So when you apply for a K1 visa from a country like Iraq or Syria, I'm not picking on those countries. I got no problem with the people. It's the governments that had the problem. The U.S. government's going to do a administrative check. Let me see. Some people claim that Muslims get a DS-5535 more. Not necessarily. You don't have to be a Muslim. You can be a Christian from Iraq or from a Muslim country. There's Christians in Iraq. There's Muslims. There's Jews. Okay, right? They're not picking on a particular religion. They're just doing a security check on the stability of that country because the countries are not politically stable. I mean, the U.S. government made under President Bush decided to invade Iraq back in Desert Storm, right? Desert Shield, and then again after that. That was stupid. How ridiculous is that? What business do we have as Americans going into Iraq? We don't have any business in there. So you could say, that's the problem started right there. Governments, right? It's not the people. It's not the religion, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, doesn't matter. It's the country. If the country doesn't have political stability, the U.S. government's going to do an extra security check with a DS-5535. Okay, Iran. There was a lady from Iran, okay, who got her K. She asked me, how do I get my K1 visa? I said, first you got to get the heck out of Iran. Okay, so she flew to Turkey. A sponsor changed her visa interview to Turkey because in Tehran, we don't have an embassy. In 1979, it was totally obliterated by the Iranian government, right? Governments. So she went to Turkey. She had her K1 visa interview and she passed. She's Iranian. She got a 221G DS-5535. And she messaged me. She said, what's going on? I said, well, you're an Iranian, number one, which is a country that doesn't get along with the United States. The Iranians keep saying death to America and all this other stuff, right? So there's a problem politically there. It's not you, Miss Iranian. You are fine. You're a person that's fine. You're a good person. So she went through a 221G and she finally got it approved and she got her K1 visa and her passport in Turkey. And then she flew to I believe it was California. And then she messaged me. She said, "Hey, Diego, I'm in California. Thank you. You saved my skin. You helped me so much." I said, "As long as you got out of Iran." And she said, "Well," she said, when she gets her K1 visa in her passport, in her Iranian passport, she said, "Can I go back to Iran and get my stuff?" I said, "Where are you?" She said, "I'm in Turkey." I said, "Don't leave Turkey. Once you get your K1 visa and your Iranian passport, do not leave Turkey. Once you get your K1 visa, you fly to the United States. Don't go back to Iran and get your jeans and T-shirts and tennis shoes and your Nike shorts. Forget about them. Tell your family to give them away to friends. You can buy them again in America." So she listened to me. Because what would happen to her if she went back to Iran? She gets at the airport. She's in Tehran at the airport. The Iranian immigration officer looks at her passport. "Oh, you got a U.S. visa here." What if he tore it out and tore it up and tore it in the trash? That could happen, right? Iran don't like America. Not the people, the government. I told her, "You stay in Turkey. Don't go back home." And she listened to me. She stayed in Turkey. She got her K1 visa after they completed the DS investigation on her, the investigation on her. And now she's in California, in America. And she's Iranian. And she's changing into American. She no longer has to cover her face with a veil. If she doesn't want, she can if she wants. But she's not forced to. She's good to go. She's all happy. She's become an American. She's probably out there, wearing a bull cap with the Los Angeles baseball team on it. So what is a DS 5535? It's a security check on people from politically unstable countries or countries that don't like America. That's all it is. KJB, thank you. No worries. Fado. Hi, Diego. They haven't opened up appointments in Abu Dhabi for over a month. Any info about that? The only thing I can suggest you do is keep looking, because they're going to open up. The embassies are going to open up appointments. You just got to keep looking. Twice a day. Be patient, guys. Vanessa, Diego, please explain the issue of passport again, because I had to do a new passport since my passport will expire in October. Okay. If you had, like Karina, she had to get a new passport. Her passport number changed when I applied for the K1 visa. We used this passport, her Venezuelan passport. When we went to the visa interview, she had a totally different passport. Totally new. So she had two different passport numbers. When she went to the visa interview, she took her new passport and her old passport. Okay? And the immigration officer said, okay, give me your new passport. They looked at the old one and said, no worries. And they took her new one. If you have submitted a DS-160 with a passport number in it that's now expired, relax. Immigration is not going to block you from getting your visa. You can either resubmit the DS-160 with the new passport number on it, or you can go to the visa interview with both passports, two passports, the expired one and the new one, and say to the consul officer, "This is my new passport. This one expired while we were waiting for the K1 visa to get adjudicated." They'll go, "Okay, you're good. Not a problem. Everything is good." Tell me you understand what I just said. Vanessa, Rim Gosum, some people claim that Muslims get a DS-5535 more. Is that true? Not true. The people that get a DS-5535 are people that come from countries that are not politically stable. Niger, Sudan, Syria, Iraq, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua. Let me think. There's probably others out there too. Okay, there's other countries out there too. It's not just Muslims; it's everybody. This isn't the U.S. government picking on Muslims, because Muslims are welcome in the United States. So are Christians. So are Jews. So are Hindus. Everybody, you're all welcome. But immigration just wants to make sure that you're not going to come to the United States and start any trouble, which I'm sure you won't. 77 podcasts. Hey, Diego and Karina, I finally got the interview for my fiance in Senegal. Well, you get a Mountain Dew salute for getting a visa interview scheduled in Senegal, because Senegal's tough to get, and you did good. Mountain Dew salute to 77 podcast. And you say, I like the outfit. It looks blue in the lights because of the lights, but it's actually black. We wear black. I mean, it's stylish, right? It's pretty stylish. Francois, oh no. Now Abu Dhabi is having issues with appointments. Say it isn't so. Must be the flood the UAE had recently is affecting business. No, it's not the flood. It's just they're busy. Tokyo agrees. Our cat, he agrees. It's not the flood. Where's Tokyo? Tokyo, he wants to go out. Karina's going to let the cat out. If sometimes our cat, now Tokyo came from Colombia. Say hi, Tokyo. Everybody say hi to Tokyo. Mi amor, Tokyo in Cameroon. Here's Tokyo. He's Colombian. Now Tokyo got more questions from the Border Patrol than Karina did. When Tokyo came into the United States from Colombia, the Border Patrol officer was asking a whole bunch of questions about Tokyo. And I told the lady, I said, look, lady, if you got questions for Tokyo, you ask him. Now, he doesn't speak English, he speaks Spanish. So you're going to have to talk in Spanish. So she looked at me like I was like, what? I said, yeah. I was being facetious because Tokyo already cleared immigration with the first Border Patrol officer in the office there. He already saw the paperwork, the vaccines, the medical exam, everything. And then this other lady was trying to be, well, I'm running this show. And I said, okay, lady, if Mr. Border Patrol, if you got questions for Tokyo, you knock yourself out. You ask him all your questions. But speak Spanish. And she's like, okay, you can go. I said, yeah, for real, right? Abu Dhabi is busy, Francois, relax. Paulino Gomez, the status of my case in Rio de Janeiro, which is in Brazil, was updated yesterday. It still says refused. No, refused. Okay. It's not refused. Every embassy around the world creates that status on a K1 visa that's being processed. Okay. Tokyo, you're out of here. What it's actually administrative processing. That's correct. Relax. Jay Baxter. Hi, Tokyo. Hola, Tokyo. Now, Tokyo, he's going to probably go and sit by the back door and go look at his friends in New York because I think he made some new American cat friends. And they come out and they hang out. Paulina, relax. You're going to get your K1 visa. Just relax. It's going through processing. Francois, sorry I have no questions. I'm sure I will hopefully soon. I'm here to support this awesome channel. Francois, no problem. Francois says, hola, Tokyo. Now, Tokyo is a cat Karina saved from the streets of Bogota, Colombia. He was about this big. Karina saved him, okay, and fed him and got him well. And then I was in Florida for a year, separated from Karina for a year, and Tokyo was like Karina's pal, her buddy, for 10 months. So Tokyo was keeping Karina company while I was here in Florida. And when I went back to Colombia, once the visa was getting approved and all that, Karina said, we'll bring Tokyo with us. I said, no, Tokyo can't fly to America. They won't let him in. And then she said, no, he's coming. I said, well, how are we going to do it? She said, well, we're going to figure out a way. So I called American Airlines. They wouldn't let the cat on the plane. Delta Airlines wouldn't let the cat on the plane. Spirit Airlines wouldn't let the cat on the plane. So we contacted Avianca. Avianca Airlines said, yeah, your cat can fly to America with us. Just get a vaccination, shots up to date, get a medical exam done by a veterinarian in Bogota, show us the paperwork, and Tokyo can fly on the plane. But you got to hold him in a carry case. And Karina's like, serious? So she goes down. We went on the Transmillennial. Tokyo got his first ride on the bus. We went to the vets. The vets looked at Tokyo. Man, she said, man, Tokyo's fit as a fiddle. He's a strong cat. Boom, he passed his physical. He got his vaccinations. They put a chip in his neck so he doesn't get lost, using the address here in Florida. And we went to the airport in Bogota, El Dorado. We got in line, went to immigration. Tokyo was allowed on the plane. We landed in Miami. Tokyo gets off the plane in Miami, and he's looking around like, where the heck am I? He's like, well, this isn't Bogota. And here he is. And let's see, Jose Apolinar Ramirez. Hi, Diego and Karina. I hope you guys have a nice weekend. Buena fin de semana. Siempre. We always have a good weekend, especially when we get to hang out with you guys, right? And April's just about gone. Soon it's going to be May. And then in May, Francois is going to get her NOA2 letter with her visa approved. I figure in May. We're just a few days away. But, you know, in May, sometime in May, Francois is going to get her NOA2 letter. Let me see here. Francois, do you talk to Tokyo in Spanish? ¿Tú hablamos Tokyo en español? Sí. Karina speaks to him in Spanish. Sí. I talk to him in English. He don't understand me, but he's getting there. Tokyo understands Karina, but not me. But I told Tokyo, I said, look, you, Tokyo, and Karina both, you got to learn English. Tokyo and Karina's learning English pretty good. And she's learning to drive real good, too. She's driving the car real good on private land. And when she gets her green card, we'll get her permit, and we'll let her loose on the interstate, on the autopista, right? Let me see here. Francois, relax. Don't worry about typos, okay? We are not the we're not the English professor class channel. We're the K1 Visa Green Card channel. We don't worry about typos. Aisha Toure, do I need to reapply for I-130 if my visa expired before coming to the USA after 4 years? Do I need to reapply for my I-130 if my visa expired before coming to the USA after 4 years? I don't understand the question. Are you in the United States right now? Did you come to Aisha, did you come to the United States on a spousal visa? Explain to me more. Francois, look at that. Francois gets a Mountain Dew salute super chat. Look at that. Thank you, Francois. That means when I get done with the live stream, we're going to go to Walmart and I can stock up on I've got one Mountain Dew left. Okay, I got one left in the fridge. And then Francois just basically covered it for the packet. It's like a 6-pack. We can only go probably buy like, I don't know, 2 6-packs. Aisha, are you in the United States? Are you married to an American citizen? That's the question. You're asking me, do I need to reapply for I-130 if my visa expired? What kind of visa did you have that expired? Spousal visa, K1 visa, before coming to the United States after 4 years. Are you in the United States? Aisha, are you in America right now? Are you married to a U.S. citizen? Or are you in your home country married to an American? Or are you in your home country with an expired K1 visa? I can't answer your questions right now. I need more data. Francois Livingston. Hip hop, hip hip hooray for May. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a few more days, right? May is going to be here. And in May, I'm pretty sure, I know for sure, you're going to get your NOA2 letter sometime in May, towards the end of May. Wafi 31, my fiance interview is coming this May 1st. She's from Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh, isn't that close to India? Got a lot of floodplains, right? A lot of water in Bangladesh. It's like lots of rivers. And Francois, again, thanks for that super chat, Francois. We appreciate you. Aisha, are you in America married to a U.S. citizen? Are you in a foreign country married to a U.S. citizen? Are you in your foreign country with an expired K1 visa? And I-130 tells me a lot, but it doesn't tell me enough. Francois, doesn't Florida Walmart have 12 packs? I probably do. They probably do. I think they come in 6, though. We do in New York. So in New York, they got 12 packs of Mountain Dew. Well, I get 6 of these with the plastic around them, or I could buy 12 in cans in a box. So I don't know. When we get done with the live stream, we will go and investigate what they have. But we're going to buy some tonight. Plus, we need to buy some milk. We ran out of milk. And we got to get some more bread. What else? ¿Qué más? Well, Karina's going to look. And burritos. Burritos. I went in the fridge to buy. Yesterday I wanted a burrito. I went in the fridge. I'm like, where's the burritos? Karina said, you ate them. I said, really? When did I do that? She goes, well, I made them for you. I'm like, but we don't have any more. She goes, well, you got to buy some more. So guess what? Tonight we're going to buy burritos, but I'm going to buy at least 10 so I don't run out. You know, I'm in, man. Francois, thank you for that super chat, Francois. And Aisha, I really want to ask you a question, but let me ask you this. Where are you? Are you in America or are you in your home country? Are you married to an American? Are you on a K-1 visa that expired? An I-130 is a lot of different things that can go with that form, okay? I'll wait for you, Aisha, to answer my question so I can help you. I want to help you. Everybody watching this channel, we're here to help you. I want to see you all. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your politics are. I want to help you get your visa so you can come to America and become an American, get married, and start your lives over. That's the reason for the channel. Because I've been in the same boat, you know. I mean, I know what it's like to be separated from Karina. It was not easy. I didn't like it. It was a long time. So I spent a lot of time in Colombia. I spent 2.5 years in Colombia. We dated for like, 2 years plus. Okay. And I spent most of that time with Karina in Bogota. And I love Bogota, Colombia. It's a beautiful city, but I couldn't handle the altitude. It's like 10,300 feet above sea level. I couldn't deal with it. You know, it was just making me sick. But I had to put up with it, you know. And when we finally got Karina's K-1 visa in her passport, I looked in the passport and I said, okay, your name's spelled correctly. The issue date's good. You got 90 days to get married. Everything's good. When we landed in Miami, my body went, oh, thank you. Because my blood, okay, was having a hard time processing oxygen at 10,000 feet. When I got to sea level, my body was like, whoa, whew, thank goodness for that. And thank goodness for Karina too, because she's with me. Francois, so now we are entering week 2 since USA has received the heavy box. Hope I grow more nails till the end of May. You're going to get an answer probably the end of May, the last week of May. I hope you know I kid around a lot about the nail biting. Yeah, it's okay to bite your nails if you're nervous, but make sure you wash your hands first. Okay, wash your hands, and then put some ketchup on it. You know, put some mayonnaise on your fingers, and so it tastes good. All right. Okay, guys, I've been talking for an hour. It's Saturday night. I'm sure you want to go hang out with your family on the weekend. We're going to Walmart. I'm going to go now. Francois sent a super chat. I can go and stock up on Mountain Dew. That's a great help. We hope you like the channel. We hope you're learning information. We hope you're getting through this process. It doesn't cost you anything to be on the channel. If you watch the videos that we've made for you, you can get all your answers to your questions on the vaccinations, on how to assemble documents for your K-1 visa interview, how to dress, what kind of questions you get at the visa interview, how to fill out the Form 485, how to fill out the I-134, how to fill out a K-1 visa package. We do it all. We got a video for every contingency, okay? There's a video for every contingency. But the contingency right now is we're going to Walmart, and we will see you guys on Monday. Now, before I go, I got a question from Wappy31. Here's a question from a very important question. In my fiance interview confirmation, Jill, look at that super chat. Jill, look at you gonna. I mean, I'm glad. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you for all your help, and get you some extra Mountain Dew. We can stock up now. But Wacky31, thank you, Jill, for that super chat, by the way. But Wacky31 asked in my fiance interview confirmation email, they didn't mention to bring I-134. declaration of financial support. It is a mandatory form. You must bring it to your K-1 visa interview. It has to be the original I-134. It is required for all countries where there's a U.S. embassy or a consulate that adjudicates K-1 visas. The I-134 is a mandatory form, okay, that the embassy staff look at to see what your income is, to see if you qualify at 100% minimum. So, WAFI 31, fill out the I-134, sign it and date it. The sponsor. The beneficiary does not sign the I-134. The I-134 is all about the sponsor and his or her income. That's the reason for the I-134, okay? The sponsor fills it out, the sponsor signs it, and the original goes to the visa interview with the beneficiary. I hope you got that information, WAFI 31. With that said, we are headed to Walmart because Francois and Adele are going to cover the Mountain Dew tonight.